All right, man. I don't care about, you know what? Screw the run. I'm ready to jump into this. I'm ready to talk some Star Trek, man. How about you guys? You ready to talk some Star Trek?
Sure. Is Lore
Clearly,
coming?
clearly.
Ah, look, I love it. I love it. I love it. He turned his. Yeah, he'll be here. Laura, we're going to talk Star Trek. So whenever you're ready to come in, if you want to join, you're more than welcome to. We always invite Laura as a welcome guest on the show. We love having his insights. Love seeing him pick apart some things. And I know I'm pretty sure he probably has some thoughts. Hey, there he is. Let's get you in the show, sir. How are you?
Doing well. How you guys doing?
He
Good,
says
brother,
he's
good.
offline.
No,
Says
he's
I'm
here. I
offline.
see him. I see
I
him.
don't.
I'm
I
not
don't
here.
see him.
Yeah, I'm not here.
He's right there.
I
Yes,
see. Wait.
Uh-oh,
Okay.
maybe-
Now I
Does
see him.
that mean you're about to go offline, Salty? I'm just
I hope
curious.
not.
Oh, I thought this was a bit. I thought you were about to pull something up or something like that.
No, we were. Did you miss it? Did you miss it?
No, I saw it. I didn't understand it, but I saw it. So
Well,
Apparently-
that's because you
apparently
haven't
the
watched
consensus
Wonder
is-
Man.
yeah, I was gonna
Consensus
say
is you
that's,
look like Josh Gad. That's really what it boils down to.
yeah, it's a 1-for-1. I was
It's
confused.
a 1-for-1.
I was confused. I was like, how
we
did they
go,
get an
sir.
image of me?
Well,
How was I in that?
That's
Well,
awesome.
Joe, check out nerdfightsshop.com and you can see a nice little gag on that Stardate 90210.
Well, you can't show people.
Not
No,
worry,
I don't.
it's
I don't
not-
want to do all that.
Not on the thong.
Let's get talk. Why don't we get into this before we start promoting everything and advertising
All right,
stuff?
all right.
Let's talk
Yeah,
about
we
the
don't
show.
want Laura to get mad at us.
All right.
I'm
No,
not mad.
I want to get into this myself. Let's talk about the show.
All right.
Okay, so I guess I'll start first. Since I didn't hate this episode. I actually thought this was the most Star Trek episode we've had, which isn't saying much considering that I do think it's very surface, like most of the season has been. I also think that for guys who went to the 32nd century, I don't know, to get away from canon, the fact that they keep reaching back into the canon cookie jar and expecting it to gain or garner stuff was a problem for me, because the stuff they're grabbing, they're just sort of going, by the way, here's a new condition for Klingons. Here's a new stuff that's going on. Here's a kind of Klingon you've never seen before. And by the way, we're going to solve all those problems in 45 minutes. And I'm like, what now? Hold on. Can we chew on any of this? Any of it at all? Because Klingons have always had been given more gravity in terms of like when things affect the world that they exist in, to the point that we got a whole movie about it once, and multiple episodes across multiple series about Klingons and their houses and everything else, only to have 45 minutes sort of just throw you. I see a lot of people going, I loved all the new Klingon lore, and I was like, oh yeah, but at the same time, I don't know that.
What show did you watch that was
This-
45 minutes of Klingon lore?
This goes
Like,
back to
Did they come
problem.
out with episode 5?
What are you talking about?
Did they come out with 2 episodes?
No.
No, the episode I was watching
No,
involved,
Oh,
I don't
okay,
know,
so
the
I thought
history of the Klingons having left their entire
You're talking-
planet behind because of
Well,
just
yeah,
destroyed reasons.
I too also saw that 30-second clip before everything else that happened in the show. You were saying there was a 45-minute
If I'm-
The
episode
entire
on.
episode is
Oh.
about this stuff. It's just done through the lens that doesn't make any
Was
kind
it?
of sense.
What, Mr. Know-It-All?
It was no, of course not. But
Mr.
that's what they
Mr.
want to sell you.
Mr. Yeah, okay, cool. So as long as we're being honest with each other, that's what
I do want to address one thing, and that's
Go for it.
Stan's question here about Holly Hunter teaching people how to pronounce Kalis because they say Kalish. And I will tell you, that is a holdover from Discovery. Because if you listen to the Klingorks, when they say it, they go, Kalish! That's where they got that from. It's not from Holly Hunter. It is from Discovery.
That happened because they had those big giant.
Yeah, because of the mouthpieces they had. But yeah,
they couldn't
But
say
they-
anything. Danny, what are your thoughts? What was your thought, sir?
I was just going to say, to your point, Mr. Know-It-All, I think that's just more of the problem of streaming series only having 10 episodes. So they cram way too much in too fast.
Well-
so I agree with that critique of yours, is all I was going to say.
I agree with Laura's point, but I think the stupid thing is we don't need to, once again, completely rewrite Klingon history in 30 seconds. It's not necessary.
What was rewritten exactly? I mean,
Well, now apparently the Klingons are refugees because their
this is
planet
1,000 years later,
And I'll refer to Kalis as the myth of Kalis, which
Yeah,
Again,
that
a
was never.
thousand
Yeah,
years later. I mean, it's so far removed. It might
hold on.
seem more like a
How many
myth
years
or a
passed from
legend.
Kalis to Worf?
hang on one second. Time out. Time out. Real quick.
No,
Danny,
this is a good
if
conversation
that's
though.
your only point of reference and argument you're going to make, you're not going to have a lot to contribute in this conversation. Because while I would tend to agree with you, and I've even made that argument in the past about other things, this is they spent. I know Laura wants to joke about it. They spent the entire episode framing this Klingon's life, we're talking about Jaden, and all his nonsense he's been through, and how big it was, and his brother thing, and his father thing, and a whole bit, and the multiple family that apparently they're all polyamorous now because whatever honor allows her to have multiple dudes. And again, I don't care. What I cared about was the fact they just dumped it as if you were emptying a can of stuff, and now I've got to sift through everything to try to just process it and keep up. That's the problem you have when you leave your 32nd century bed of safety to reach back into lore that we all know and can go find and give us milk toast history. So that's the issue you have. So you can't keep saying, "Well, it's only because they're only an hour long." We know that is a long-running, long-standing argument. We're never going to get past that. We just have to sit here and say, "Then guys, do better." Because I'm sorry, I just watched 8 half-hour episodes, and it was a fuller story than I've ever gotten from the Kurtzman era Star Trek thus far.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not trying to make excuses. I'm just saying that that's indicative of that problem. What I, but to my other point, as I've said over the past few weeks, the 1,000 years is doing a ton of heavy lifting. Is all, you know.
But I
So
don't think it is. I think that it's offering a ton of excuses,
or
but
excuses. There you go. That's a
that's
better
where,
word.
like, Laura, I think you were going to comment. How I don't know the timeline as well as you do with Klingon lore, but when is Kalis compared to Worf? Do
So,
you know?
well, I had to Google it if I'm gonna be honest with you. But so
Yeah.
here's my thing, and here's what I was gonna counter to you, right? Because I was gonna
Mhm.
ask Know It All, how long the first time we see written in the word or we're aware of, when did Zeus appear
Like,
in
Just like
the zeitgeist? Like, do you?
in real
Yeah,
life,
do you?
just
Yeah, in real life, do you know how long ago? I'm assuming you don't. Can you
uh,
make a guess for me?
sure, 800 BC.
Okay, no, it was the 8th century, so well, that might be 800 BC, but
Wow, look at that. That's
it was
deep.
1,326 years ago. Now, to Michael's point, at the again, as Michael would say, we're doing a lot of work for the writers. We're putting more thought into this than they ever did. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and admit that. But to Michael's point,
That's fair.
when you look at it, it's been 1,500 years since the death of Kalis to the point of Worf. Okay, and even then they were talking about their gods, but they were talking about their gods in mortal terms. They killed their gods, right? They were too much trouble. They were more trouble than they were. And now we go from that to the 32nd century, so that's 900 or 1,000 more years. I'm not surprised that they're now calling it the myth of Kalis. It's been over 2,000 years since that happened, and it's taken us only 1,300 years to say that Zeus is a myth. You know what I'm saying? So I can actually see that. And even if we ignored all of that, we can his family or him specifically just didn't believe it, because you did have I don't know if you ever had a Klingon non-believer, but you did have non-believers, like you had Bajorans that didn't believe the prophets were actually the prophets. The entirety of the Federation apparently is atheist, and that's how everything procreates. So the myth of the myth, calling a religion a myth, I don't necessarily, that doesn't bug me as much, because that just makes logical sense. But like you say, it's doing a lot of work, and you have to rely on the, going back to Dork Night, that it's 1,000 years. You have to rely on that a lot to get where you're at with that.
And I'm done with that excuse, and
Same.
because
Forgive me,
I
Jamie.
would.
So am I. And that's what I meant. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I would not. Don't get me wrong. I didn't get all stickler about the Kalis being a myth, even though it kind of rubbed me the wrong way as far as, because at least from my understanding in TNG, Kalis, like you could argue about whether the Klingon gods were mythological, but Kalis was a historical figure. Kalis, they actually found his sword. They actually cloned his DNA, which means, and so they knew that Kalis was an actual person, whether or not he was, did all the great things that. And by the way, in TOS, he was a historical figure when the Excalbians resurrected him to fight Kirk and Spock.
So
So. And no, Kalos is not an allegory for
Thank you. That's
Jesus.
why I didn't post that comment. So whoever
Yeah,
posted it, do me a favor, keep your hands to
yeah.
yourself.
So my
Uh,
counter to that, and I'd like to hear it. The only reason I'm interrupting you is because I'd like to hear your
sure.
counter to this. Is in Voyager. I don't remember the exact episode, but Janeway was really proud of an ancestor that she thought like founded NASA or something, or some kind of like real big thing of going to space or whatever. And
Yeah.
you actually find out that she didn't find it. She was against it. She was actually pushing against it. But Janeway didn't know, and Paris found out because Paris can do everything. He's a genius and all that good stuff. And then she talks about how it doesn't matter, even with the computer systems they have, that stuff is just going to eventually, you're going to get it wrong. That people are going to forget what happened in the past. And I
Right.
was curious, how would you take that given that episode? Because I think that
Okay,
episode kind
so
of plays
I
into
would
it.
say
And
that
again,
Voyager.
we're putting so much more effort into this than they ever
Sure,
cared
sure.
about, by the way.
Uh, I would say that that episode of Voyager was very poorly written because if you have digital information and you don't have a catastrophic failure of the entire system somewhere in between in the intervening history,
Would you say
then
maybe a
So,
post-apocalyptic
thank
event
you.
that destroyed every
Yeah.
planet as well as every
hold
spaceship?
on.
If you
The
if you had to
burn.
say
No,
if
no,
something like
I
that, you'd
understand. Oh,
say,
wait,
or
I knew you were going to say the burn, but the burn did
I love
not
that so
disable
much.
all computer systems. It only disabled warp drives. And so
it
the
did disable
historical
computer systems.
huh?
It did. It did disable computer systems.
It did not destroy every
It
computer.
absolutely did. What happens if you drop a nuclear bomb on an LLM center? A nuclear bomb went
This
off
is
next
not a
to the computer
nuclear
system.
bomb.
It
The
is. It's worse than a nuclear bomb.
Starfleet
They all
Command.
went.
Okay, so then how do they even know about Starfleet outside of Federation borders?
I would argue that systems were widely corrupted, they were disconnected from each other, and that the data they had in the past was not saved or was corrupted. I would use the episode to prove that when they first show up and meet Starfleet. Starfleet has lost a lot of its data due to what happened to the burn because of the huge disconnection. I'm going to be honest with you. This isn't worth a huge fight. I'm not trying to fight with you or anything like that, but that would be my counter to it because we know there is corrupted data. I'm honestly, this doesn't mean a lot to me, so I will agree with you that it was stupid if you want to, because I'm not trying to fight with you on this. Because I more want to talk about how 70% of it was LGBT coded, and I need that out of my Star Trek because they had such a great episode. Oh my god. Anyway, but finish what you're saying. I'm just saying I'm not gonna like fight with you
Well,
over
no,
it.
I
my whole thing
mean,
though is that they even established not all starships blew up, right? It was just anyone like if they didn't have an active warp core at the time, the starship, the dilithium just went inert for some reason.
Yeah,
The
anything
ships
that
that
wasn't
blew up,
using the dilithium. Yeah, anything active, but anything that was
right,
disabled at the time, they weren't. It didn't blow
right.
up.
And we do know like the Enterprise D has, and in fact, even the original Enterprise, their library computer systems have an almost complete historical
Keep
record
that
of
up.
pretty
Sorry.
much everything. Um,
No, keep it up because I want to apologize. Darren has something right. You know what? No, keep it up because I want everyone to know this.
I had a time. I had a timer.
If
Go
you
ahead.
drop a nuclear bomb on a center that has AI or LLM on it, then maybe it won't blow up. Maybe it'll be fine. Maybe flowers will just fall on it. You're right. I don't know anything about nuclear power. You're right. Stop saying stupid stuff. Stop saying. I don't have to know anything about nuclear power to know that if you drop a nuclear bomb on a building, it's going to go away. Anyway, continue.
Wait, so Danny, you're
that's
awfully quiet over there. What are your thoughts?
Wait, Dork Knight's quiet on this show? That's weird. Are you okay, buddy?
Yeah, no, I'm just letting everybody talk. I don't like getting in trouble for talking over people, and you know,
It's okay.
seems to be a thing. I guess my hot take or takeaway from this episode, as somebody who is the 1997 policy debate champion in the state of North Carolina, I really enjoyed the debating in this.
Oh, you
Although
got to be kidding me.
this debating was more like Lincoln Douglas debate, and in debate you have to be ready to argue either side, and they chose their sides, which whatever. So it kind of just like weird personal things to me. And they used resolved blah 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 blah. Like my first debate case was resolve the pursuit of feminist ideals is detrimental to gender equality. and that was back in 1993 or four. You know what I mean?
So maybe you
Um,
know more about this to me. Not to over. I don't get in trouble for talking over people. So I'm going to go ahead and do it real quick. Um, I I hated it in the fact that it looked like they were trying to teach public speaking and debate like at the same time. And like I've taken multiple like classes that give you like licenses for public speaking, and the one thing they don't do is like you're going to have to public speak. You're going to have to public speak and debate. Not going to give you any training on it. Good luck.
well, this was very reminiscent of my oral interpretation class where I was first introduced to Lincoln Douglas debate. So it felt that
Okay.
part. It seemed to me like somebody in the writers' room was also a debate geek in high school or
Right.
something like that.
I mean,
So
maybe, and you know more than
I
me.
like
So,
that.
so maybe they do it that way. I'm just saying that's not the way that I was taught.
Yeah,
I was like, what
and
the hell is this? Is like a horrible way, especially because the Klingon didn't like getting in front of people.
yeah. But as far as I actually might be the only one. I loved this episode. It was felt more like Star Trek. Uh, I like that they finally like he did reference his mom. That was a gripe I had about the last
And his two
episode.
dads, and his two
No, no,
dads. I
no,
like that
no,
part too.
no. I'm sorry, pronouns. Caleb referenced
Oh,
his mother in this episode when she was completely not mentioned at all in episode 3.
Yeah, but there's still no
Um,
talk about his quest to find
no,
her.
no, I like. Look, man, this is
I'm
all we're
sorry.
I
getting.
just I just
This is
want to
all we're
know.
getting. This is
I
the
just
Star
want to
Trek
know. I
we've
just want
got.
to know which
Okay.
part you wanted more. The 15 to 20 minute focus on dude's triad family, which is fine. I don't really care about that. I care that it doesn't do anything for the story, or the fact that the other dude was coming on to the Klingon when he's in a lot of pain, taking advantage of him.
Again, you give us a really
Durem? You're talking about
amazing.
Durem?
Yes, Laura,
Okay.
I think that tells us more about you than anything
What
else
does it?
because it
Okay.
seemed like he
What's it say
was.
about?
I mean, well, they didn't kiss. They didn't seem overly romantic. It seemed like a dude trying to help another
Okay,
Dude,
dude.
hold on.
come on.
No, hold on, hold on. They didn't say overly romantic. Okay, let's have this conversation
All
because I want
right.
this I want this
Can,
live. Again, you're right. Let's do it. You got
can
me,
I
buddy.
set you up
You
for this,
got me,
though? Can
buddy.
I set you
All
up for
right,
this, Laura?
no, hold on. No, I just want you to tell me this wasn't romantic.
Okay.
I just
No,
want
no,
you to
no,
say that.
no, no, no. I'm not saying that.
No, I'm talking Dork Knight. I'm
Okay, okay,
talking.
okay. Yeah, I'm saying the opposite this
Okay.
week.
I'm saying.
Yeah, I think this is a 3-on-1 on
So,
poor Dirk.
so
This was
just so
super uncomfortable
just
for
so
me.
we are all on the same page, according to Dork Knight, and I want to know this. First off, do I need to talk to your mom? Do we want to make sure I get that? Like, can I get their buy-in to make sure they don't get mad at me? Because I don't want your family to get mad at me. Okay, we're just going to assume that they're not going to get mad at me. All right. So when so first off, he walked in, and he had him close his eyes, and he was, chanting with him. And then he put his hand on the dude's other hands, brought his arm around him, and pulled him closer so that they're almost, but not kissing, that they could feel each other's breaths on each other's faces, and that he's holding it there. And then the dude was physically uncomfortable. Just so we're all on the same page, nothing about that was romantic. I just need a yes or no. I don't need any kind of explanation, just a yes or no. I want you to tell me in the affirmative or the negative, if you could, please.
Negative, Kimasabi.
Okay, that's all I needed.
What?
I'm comfortable with us ending it right here. Let's stop the show.
No,
We're
no,
good.
no.
I'm
Hold
comfortable
on.
with that.
I'm
I'm
not.
comfortable with it.
Hold
Hey,
on.
no,
I'm not.
Mr. Know-It-All. Dork Knight is okay if someone walks up to somebody else, has them close their eyes, grabs them by the hand, brings their arm around them, pulls them tight against their body, and just has them breathing on each other's faces. That's not sexual. That's not intimate to him. I'm comfortable leaving it right there.
Okay. If I sit here and go up to you, Danny, and I'm like, all right, listen, let me explain something real quick. Okay, listen to me, right here. You paying attention? Listen, put your hand, give me your hands. Put them right here, Betty. Okay, put those hands right here. Okay, all right. I want you to close your eyes. Just close your eyes for me, okay? Now say these words. Just go, oh yeah, feel that energy. Feel that energy, Danny. I want you to feel that energy between us. Can you feel it? Oops, excuse me. Sorry, wrong thing to feel. Can you feel? Okay, that's what I.
No,
to me,
context.
Danny,
Hold up.
Danny, no,
Hold up.
Danny, no. Let's do the context. I'm gonna let you answer. Don't worry.
I
I'm
was
gonna
so uncomfortable.
Don't worry. I'm gonna let you finish. I'm gonna let you finish in just
Somebody
a
needs
minute,
to
Danny.
clip that.
I'm gonna let you finish. Okay? I'm gonna let you finish. We're gonna do that. We're going to do that. And if you don't feel uncomfortable, if we ever meet, I swear to God, I'll take this to
First of all,
I'll
no.
take this to my grave. No, 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 no. We're gonna, and if you don't feel uncomfortable, I will give $100 to a charity of your choice. But it has to be live, and it has to be on this channel and mine.
Okay, so
And we're
look,
gonna do that. So and we're gonna do it.
if
We're gonna
I'm
do this channel. He means
Exactly.
NerdFights. He means
if I'm
NerdFights.
struggling, if I'm ever like, let's give this some context.
You're right.
If I hold up, if I'm struggling
if you're vulnerable
with
and
something as
Yeah.
serious as my family might be dead,
Okay.
and I'm faced with having to public speak about it, and public speaking is a fear
Yeah.
of mine, which it's not, but in this instance,
Yeah, no, I
and
got you.
and I'm having anxiety
On the
attacks
same page.
clearly,
Exactly.
and nobody's there for me.
I completely agree.
And you come to me genuinely as a friend in a non-romantic way because I'm a
and I put my
heterosexual male.
and I
I will
put my
not take
hands
it
on
that way.
I put
And
my
you
hands on
help me in a I've like
Okay.
maybe
Point
I'm
of
a lot
order,
more
gotta
comfortable in my sexuality than the
I
three
put
of
my
you.
hands over you.
But
I'll
no,
bet you.
I have no
I'll bet you.
problem.
I've had
We
more
can
alternative.
stream it live.
Wait, Thor, I gotta ask you a question.
I'll bet you $1,000 I've had more alternative experiences than you, Dan.
I will,
$1,000.
hold on, Lord.
I'll
Hold
bet
on,
you
Lord. Before you
1,000.
start
But
talking about all
before
your
that,
men.
before that,
Wait.
that, no,
I
I'm
seriously
completely
doubt
with you.
that. But okay.
Let's go for it, babies. Let's do it offline. Let's talk about our experience. But
Oh, no,
he's
you
right.
don't want to know about his
No,
experiences.
he's
do
right.
you,
No,
bro?
maybe I do.
bro.
You guys don't know. Maybe I do because it sounds like a good time. I completely agree, Danny. And I'm gonna let Salty talk. I'm gonna let him finish. Don't worry. But I completely agree.
I
If
just have a
someone
point
is
of order kind of
vulnerable,
question.
someone is hurting, where their family might be dead. The one thing I'm definitely going to do is come to them in their time of need when they're confused and they don't know what's going on and they just need some affection. And I'm going to put my hands on theirs, have them close their eyes, do a chant, bring my arm around them like we're doing a slow dance, and let them feel my breath caress their face. We agree. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Salty.
Okay, so no, I just want to, because one of the things that Danny was very clear in articulating was that he approached, this is a heterosexual man approaching him and as a friend. When on the show have we established that either of these two characters is heterosexual?
I don't care if they're
Well, no,
heterosexual.
we were
wait,
talking
I just
about.
want-
We haven't. In fact, because we talked about this in the chat. I think that the Klingon's going to come out as gay, and we already determined last week's episode, dude's poly, or what's it called, pansexual. So like men, women, fish, iguana. He doesn't care. So I agree with you. We were asking about
That's
me
not quite
in
what
this instance.
pansexual means.
I know, man. I was just trying to make a joke, but
So are
yeah,
we saying that I can't do that if I have any proclivities that aren't heterosexual? Are you saying that's what?
Well, no, I've had like my brother's gay. I've gay friends.
And
This shit
my
don't
best
bother me.
friend- my
I'm
best
not going to
friend-
kiss you.
And Salty's
know?
best friend is black. What's that mean?
As
That
the
doesn't mean-
resident black
his wife
best
is
friend
black,
of everybody in
so-
the
There you go. So he can't be racist. So there's that going on. No. So here's my thing.
Well, what was he going to say? I wanted to hear that, Mr. Know-It-All. What were you about to
I was
say?
going to say, as the
Yeah,
resident
I'd shut me up.
black friend for everybody here on the show, I personally was extraordinarily uncomfortable by the scene. And the thing is,
Okay.
I'm the guy who didn't have a problem with the two people in silhouettes having a conversation about a foot apart. But when this guy walks in the room and beelines it straight to this larger person, who, by the way, they have shown in every other scene to be towering over everyone, but all of a sudden Durem, who's not exactly a tall guy, is like right there, nose to chin, and I'm like, golly, he's close. And then he
There's
starts
no
doing
way.
that whispery talk and that whole like you said, like this breath is on him, like and dude's looking down and everything. It's the whole scene felt very awkward.
The
And I was like,
immediate, and you know how you know we're right. You know how you know we're right. Is because the reaction of the Klingon. If you just watch his reaction, he was uncomfortable as hell. Dude clearly crossed a line that he shouldn't have.
Well, I think the
if
Klingon
you're
was sorry.
go ahead. No, you're fine. It's fine. You can talk over. I don't get mad.
I was just going to say, I think the Klingon, Jaden, was uncomfortable because it's going to come out that he's gay because Hollywood can only seem to cast gay actors to be
is a gay
gay
actor.
characters, and he's gay in real life. So,
Yeah.
So you know, here's the thing that frustrates me. Here's the thing, and I was talking about this with Know-It-All. Here's the thing that frustrates. I think now, obviously, we're kind of putting it on for the show, but I think that it's quite clearly it was meant to be some kind of intimate moment. I do. Now, if you disagree with that, that's fine. It doesn't bother me, but I think it clearly was. But here's what gets me. Talked about this with Know It All. They missed a wonderful opportunity to make this very Trek coded, to make it very, very Star Trek. And what they did is the Amir, what's his name? Why can't I remember their names? The main
Because
character
their
who was in
names
jail.
suck.
Who was in jail. He was in prison. He's the first guy we see. The kid
Caleb?
looking for his mom.
Yeah,
Is it
Caleb
Caleb?
Mir.
Caleb. Yeah.
Yeah,
Is-
Caleb Mir. Caleb.
He
Caleb
has
Mir.
Is he the only one with a normal name? How can I not remember Caleb? Okay,
I
so
think
Caleb.
I think he's the one with normal
So
name.
Caleb
Real
tried to
quick,
connect.
Salty, proof of life. Are you okay? Blink.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay, sorry. You're slumped over. Like, God forbid we do a
Oh, no.
whole stream. It becomes the internet like
So Caleb,
thing that you're
here
just
I'll do
dead
it.
while yours
I'll do it
is
too,
going off.
so he doesn't feel like it's off. So Caleb tried to connect with him. He's like, "Hey, we're brothers, yada yada. We both come from broken families, or whatever the hell he was trying to say." And he failed, and the dude yelled at him. And I thought it was such a perfect, because when the fucking Orion dude, we were just saying his name. What the hell is it? Not Jaden, the other guy.
Durem.
Durem. When Durem walked in, I was like, I did think, I was like, this is going to be awesome, because Caleb and Durem hate each other, right? I mean, they have a rivalry or whatever, right?
Yes, allegedly.
But Caleb, he flubbed. He failed. So now Durem comes in, and I thought they were actually going to fight, because I thought he was trying to talk to him in his language, like a Klingon or whatever. And then they went to the warrior thing where he was teaching, and I didn't mind that part where he's doing like the whatever, and he's doing it through. It's when it became intimate that I had an issue with it. But I thought that this showed an excellent thing where you can see the rivals. If they work as a team, they get something done. Where Caleb fails, Durem can come through. Where Durem fails, Caleb can come through.
Great.
And that's what I'm saying. And that would have been a perfect scene, and it would have shown real Starfleet teamwork if they just. It just seemed really unreasonable. Now you're right. Maybe maybe they're gonna connect it. And now he's gonna be homosexual, and that again just proves my point. It's 70% of gay coded stuff and triad, poly, whatever, which is fine if it helps the story, but it absolutely does not. And then they had 30% of an excellent. The Klingons don't want to be given something for free. They don't talk the way the Federation talks. So let's talk about Klingons. That is such an excellent episode. There is so much you could do with that.
Agreed.
Well, and that's when
I did what you said.
Yeah.
I did
Sorry,
what you
Salty.
said. You go, Salty. You go.
Yeah, other direction. My big problem with the whole polyamorous thing is that it's it's like you have to actually look to see the other dad. It's like there's no interaction between the two dads, and there's no point in making this a polyamorous family except to basically virtue signal that, hey, we got a polyamorous family now in Star Trek. And I found it quite frankly to be stupid. I mean, if you have a reason, a story reason to have this character in there, fine. But just like when I was talking to Mr. Know It All about this, is if the character's sexuality doesn't matter, then don't bring it up.
Right. If it's not a major component of the story, what's the point?
So
Yeah.
I thought, and we actually pieced this out together, me and Know-It-All, when we were talking about it. They had the perfect opportunity. If they want to throw it in, again, just make it have some kind of value to it. And what they could have done is, how at the end the dad was, how the dad, he honored him the only way he knew how, which is to
Right.
make sure he
To
can't
miss.
be a part of the family, to miss, right? So all you need is one more scene. And it could be a 30 to 60-second scene where the dad goes to the other dad, or the dad goes to the other dad and brother, and they work it out. You can do this on the back end, so you don't ruin the surprise or whatever, because I did like that part. But don't just say they have a triad. Have them work as a team and realize what's going on. I actually did like that part where she's like, he actually missed on purpose so that he could honor you the only way that he knew how. And I think that if you're going to do YA, that is a good. even though I'm sure no one on this panel got it, but the more I thought about it, the more I could see how it could speak to teens, where a parent is stuck in their ways and they can't accept or like who you are, but they like you, so
Right.
they'll love you the only way they can. And I think a lot of teenagers would connect with that. So if we're gonna have YA in it, that's a good way of doing the YA part, you know. And I just wish they would have done something with it.
Oh man, I wish you wouldn't have put that in there, Stan, because you just reminded me of the
I
most
just thought of the same thing.
What?
the nerdrotic comment. Did you see that?
No, what was the nerdrotic comment? I don't
Oh
watch
god,
nerdrotic thing.
he was.
He's the only. They bring a black Klingon or whatever else, and he
No,
is
they bring
abandoned.
in two black fathers and they both abandon
They
him.
both abandoned their son.
Okay, that's funny. I might not like nerdrotic, but
Oh,
that's funny.
it was, and
That's hilarious.
I was like,
Okay,
oh,
what did I just walk into?
I
That
sure
was
Oh, hey, welcome back. We've actually started a podcast. We've been on for about an hour 30. Welcome back. Welcome to the show,
welcome.
Dork
Hey,
Knight. Yeah. So, for those who don't know, Dork Knight is now going to be joining us for this show. You know, I would hate for it to be inconvenient for you. So, if you need us to stop the show, just
Look,
let
I
us know.
screwed up and I broke the seal before the show started. I had to pee again. I'm sorry, but anyway,
nice.
I did send it in the private chat.
Well,
by the
you
way.
do have the cup there. Just
I,
use it.
I honest to God don't know how to use that private chat, so I had no idea. I just thought you randomly left.
Oh,
No, he did say I gotta be.
Well, there's
that's
that.
weird. 'Cause
Yeah. I like the war. What do you guys think about the? I counted; it was a minute 45. I want to do a battle breakdown on my channel. The
That's all you
minute
need is the
45
first
Klingon War.
My question before you get into that, what's up with the white Klingon? Did I
well,
miss something?
so
Mr.
yes,
Know-It-All,
you did.
I too would prefer that we
Okay.
just have actors in blackface. I'm
Hold
sorry,
up, hold
Dork
up.
Knot. Go ahead. I'm
No.
sorry.
Have you
Mr.
guys not
Know-It-All.
seen? Have you guys not seen Undiscovered Country? The warden, the Klingon warden of Ruapinte, was white. Okay, we've had white Klingons in the past. Now Discovery changed that in the first or second season, that because I did watch the first 3 seasons, where apparently the albino Klingons were outcast. Salty probably knows more about this than me, but we have had white Klingons in the
Sorry, my
past.
bad.
Let
I
me
apologize.
correct you, Dork Knight. It's not just one. We've had a lot of
There-
white.
well, I didn't say
Klingons
just
in
one,
the
but
past.
we've had them in the past.
We have. They've just been painted black.
Wow.
Okay,
Okay.
so
Hold on.
the warden in Undiscovered Country,
Point out Christopher Lloyd in Star Trek 3.
yeah, but he wasn't as white. See, I get what
He wasn't as white.
I get
No,
what
What
he's
level
saying.
of white? What level?
He wasn't white enough.
No, no,
No,
no,
but
hold
if-
on.
no,
No,
if
no,
you
no. Let's
look at-
reverse that. So, how
my
light does a
God.
black person have to be before they're white, Dork? I'm
This
sorry.
guy
Let
was
Dork talk.
straight up a Caucasian Klingon, and I was like, "Whoa, okay."
The
By the way, I want to hang on. I know that he wants to suck you in again because you guys are absolutely money.
Whoa! Hey! We just talked about we're not doing any sucking here.
No,
That's
it's
very
not.
funny.
We're both heterosexual.
I want to know
We're
about
both
Oh, yeah.
heterosexual, and he's lost some of his
Lord-
family,
look,
so it's okay.
Lord-
It's not gay.
Okay to suck
It's
in
not
there.
gay. It's
Lord-
okay. He doesn't look down. He closes his eyes. I don't swallow. It's not gay. I'm sorry, Mr. Know-It-All. You were talking.
Lore keeps laying down this idea that that's blackface, and by the way, I do
It is.
understand. That's not what I'm
It is.
talking about.
We've got Chancellor Dork on.
I'm sorry.
We've got
Hey,
General
Dork,
Chang.
shut up. Stop speaking for 2 seconds. Let me get a thought out, you bastards, all 3 of you. What I'm trying to say is this: I do not want blackface Klingons. What I'm asking is, I have never seen a Klingon genuinely represented as Caucasian as the one that we saw on this episode. I'm not upset by it. I'm just like, oh, okay. When did we start doing that? I'm fine with that. I actually kind of preferred the idea that quote unquote Klingons began to be in TNG era, shifted into being relatively speaking African American casting. Not always, because clearly we know
Right.
that's not the case. But to me, I was like, oh, okay, cool. It was easy to sort of carry that forward. And obviously, Worf did the work of laying a lot of the template down for what Klingons later on became. The bigger voice and the way the staccato Centaurian way of speaking. And he sort of laid a template down. And so moving forward, then you see this guy today. And I was like, who's this guy? Like, I was just very surprised by that. And the thing is, my problem, it's the same thing I have the problem with the polycule family. Not that they exist. My problem with it is that I'm not able to process the changes that have happened in 1,000 years. If we're going to keep going to the 1,000 years, cool. But man, you guys are moving fast. because nothing in past experience has told us that the family unit would be described or defined this way in Klingon culture. Just like nothing has ever showed us that I've seen a quote unquote Caucasian Klingon, and I just thought it was odd.
And I do want to address something because that compared to like what Dork Knight was talking about before.
He looks black. He looks like a light-skinned black man to me. I
He
could
does
be
look like a brown
wrong.
guy. Actually, he does look like a brown
He
guy.
looks like a light-skinned black guy to me.
So
I think I
I think
wonder.
just because the actor was Caucasian does
Yeah,
not.
that's
mean
what I'm saying. Because like you're looking
Yeah.
at Gorkon too, and Gorkon was played by a white actor. I agree. He's a light-skinned black man in the show.
hold
in
on.
the movie.
Okay, so real quick, Mr. Know-It-All, if you'll take a look at the image that I've provided, this is what the original makeup was for Klingons, and a lot of people thought it was blackface. It is not. Just like Spock's makeup was actually green. If you can bring it up anytime you're ready, Mr. Know-It-All.
Oh yeah, sorry, my bad.
The original Klingons were actually, if you look carefully, a reddish hue to their skin, and some of them were actually gray. And so, if the makeup was meant to be non-human tones, but unfortunately, because of the way that '60s lighting and cameras and everything, not to mention old TVs, they just came across as being in blackface. Um,
Sorry.
and
I just
so,
in case I don't want Laura to feel like he's being next to he's like approving of blackface. So I'm gonna leave that. No, it's good.
well, then, well, let's do it right then.
There you go. There you go. That's the guy.
So here's my thing. You would know more about that than me, so I can accept that. I would say that because of the way things were filmed, Klingons were given a certain hue, which is black, even if they were meant to be green, right? Just like Command, their shirts were they were green, weren't they? But they came off as yellow, right?
The original uniform shirts were green. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or just send me an image that I cannot show or will not show. Right now.
No, you should, because I think Dork Knight would agree with me that is a white character in the movie. That character, as portrayed, is white. Anyway,
Oh god.
but would you agree with me that in TNG and in Voyager and I don't know about Voyager.
Well,
but
since
in,
the
PS9.
original cosmetic change.
Yeah, and I don't think they were actually doing blackface, but I do think that they made characters with African American hues that were white.
Well,
in
like I said,
TV
that's
and
why I
in-
wanted to make it clear. They weren't meant to be African American hues. Discovery was actually closer to the original concept as far as skin tone.
because they were gray.
Yeah,
would
where
like
they
to
were
hold
kind
up
of
this
gray and some of them were purplish,
I would like to hold up this question from our extraordinarily progressive audience, and I think this is important that we do that. Every two is Klingon at the Fu Manchu stash.
Totally not true. That is totally not true. In fact, very few of them did.
No, but I totally know what he's talking about, but I'm just like, really? We're calling it the Fu
Well,
Manchu
you know what you're
stash?
thinking of is a
That's not
specific
sensitive somehow.
Klingon, right?
Yeah,
You're thinking of
Core?
Commander Core.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
One
However,
frame.
you know what's really interesting about that episode, the Errand of Mercy, which was the first appearance of the Klingons, by the way, is not only did they not have the darker hues yet, like they did in the picture that I just showed, but the Commander Core was the only Klingon in that episode to have facial hair. Every other one of them was clean shaven, and there were dozens of them. So you see whole platoons of Klingons marching the streets, and they're all clean shaven.
Have we ever really found that explanation for that, an actual one?
What, that they're all clean shaven?
Yeah, well, how did they go
But
from
that it hadn't been decided yet that all Klingon men had beards. So
So I mean, I always just interpreted it that they were, and I could be wrong because I've never directly served in the military. So Michael, you can talk to this more than me, but I always just assumed that they were trying to be a warrior vibe, and you only got the actual mustaches when you've become an honored warrior or whatever in the original series. That's the way I have always looked at it.
Okay.
I could be wrong though.
that's a reasonable assumption because it is the commanders that we see, except for I don't think Koloth had a beard. I'm trying to remember.
I don't think you
Okay.
had to have one, but you could. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Right.
The once you become an actual honored warrior, the restrictions was a lot less. That's how I said it in my mind.
I'm so sorry, by the way, that I got us on this this like really long rabbit trail. I was just so stunned because the guy teleports in, and I'm like, let me get this right. The first Caucasian Klingon, and he's already made president of the Klingons. What's going on here? Like, what's happening here?
Well,
I
of course, it's white privilege.
That's what I'm saying. I'm
It's
like,
all
Dude,
over
there's so many
Klingon
jokes.
Empire.
did nobody there in the very progressive Kurtzman writers room or production staff say to themselves, hang on, guys. So the white Klingon is now in this century the leader of all the Klingons, and you guys don't see maybe a problem with that?
Hey, so look at the private chat because you're not going to get me saying that online because the last thing I need is that clip going around. But I didn't think about it, but I think that specifically is a bad message that they're sending. When everything goes to hell,
Oh, dude, yeah.
you know who they call when everything goes to hell.
That's so bad. He the guy with the good credit. Anyway,
Don't look so pissed off, man. Let's have a conversation.
okay, dude,
I don't
I'll tell you
disagree.
right now. My credit ain't great.
I get
Moving
yelled
on.
at every time I open my mouth. So
I'm
just
not.
gonna
I'm
sit
not
back.
yelled at you. I just. I
Not
just.
you. No, you're fine.
I didn't yell at you. Go
Who's
ahead.
yelling at you?
I just want to finish my thought. Go, sir. Go ahead. Please talk.
No. I mean, we can just not agree. There have been that wasn't. There's tons of white Klingon examples. I just don't care to argue about it anymore.
Did you see my what I included the white guy in another movie that I agreed with you that I think he's nothing but white? Click on that link.
Yeah, that's not. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
he's
you know.
no.
I saw.
No, it's
And
another white guy, like you
I'm
were
just
saying.
so.
I'm not
Anyway.
even clicking on the link.
It's just it's Robert Downey
Tropic,
Jr.
yeah, it's
from
Tropic Thunder. It's
Yeah.
Tropic-
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
I saw it. I was like, oh my God, it killed me. I wasn't expecting it. I was not expecting it.
Although to be fair, he is playing a white guy in that movie. So.
That's what I'm saying. You're so, yeah.
Now-
So I
now
mean,
that we've
white guy.
exhausted
It's
this,
another example. Maybe
anybody
he's
wanna
Klingon.
talk about
Maybe
the-
because it's a parody, so maybe they're
war?
parodying.
Did
What
you want
about
to talk about the minute and a half war?
the what?
The minute and a half war?
Oh, I actually. So I mean, because it was condensed, they could have done better with it. But I actually liked it because it was meeting the Klingons on their terms. It was very Star Trek. I honestly, that's what frustrates me about this because I think they add so much of this teen angst and this coded stuff that if they leaned into the other aspects of it, that it would have been a lot better if they expanded that. I do think it would have been hilarious if the Klingons didn't actually understand what was happening and fired full power, though. That would have been like completely hilarious. Not that they were at war, but they thought they were actually going to have a fight. But I like that. We can get on to that's next to it. I'll tell you what really pissed me off because there are reasons to piss people off. What is the point of the rest of the ship if the saucer can come out and it has a warp drive and it has?
Don't even get me started on
Well,
that.
here's my thing. I was getting into that. What's the point of that huge ass deflector shield if the smaller part has a deflector shield? Why the hell would they have? Is it just so that people know that it has a deflector shield? Yeah, they have two deflectors. They have a deflector shield for their deflector shield. And
It's a
also,
flying saucer. It's literally a flying saucer.
yeah, but the thing is there's no point to the rest of that ship that I can understand.
It's because the rest of the ship is where all the kids are.
Leave them on the planet. Leave them on. They're literally on Earth. The ship lands and stays most of its time on Earth. Leave them on Earth.
No,
So,
because then
these
they're
guys-
supposed to be in space for this
I
episode.
want to actually address that question that Street Preacher had. So are they suggesting the Klingons agreed to a fake battle? I think the answer is both yes and no. Yes, they agreed to a fake battle in principle. But I think no, I think the core of the idea is the Klingons respected the fact that someone at the very least went to the trouble to understand how they needed to be communicated with, which is an extraordinarily progressive viewpoint and another thing that apparently 800 years worth of evolution allowed the Klingons to be able to have that rationale, even though we've never, ever, ever seen any inkling of that type of rationale from them before.
I
So
think
just in
My-
defense, of Danny here, because Danny, I know you got a lot of crap.
Those are
So
not.
there is a whole gaggle of white Klingons.
That's
Or I
not.
mean, just go to
Well,
Deep
really
Space
dirty
Nine,
faces.
Blood Oath. There's a
Yeah,
white Klingon there
Okay,
in
No,
Deep
see, they
Space
have
Nine,
very, very,
season
very
two.
dirty faces
yeah.
because either
Well,
they are
okay,
they're
Whoa,
white.
whoa,
but they are all clean shaven.
whoa, whoa! That's problematic. Know it all. But no, let's not.
Why?
Let's not. Huh? They just have
Look,
dirty faces. That's problematic.
that's what he's
They are
saying.
all African American. Okay, we're not going to agree. Okay, I just looked up DS9 Blood Oath, Dork Knight. We are not going to agree on this. All of
Yeah,
those people are light-skinned black people. They just are. I'm sorry. If you don't see that, if you think they're white, that's fine. I agree. We're still going to hug each other and intimately, non-sexually have a moment together. Okay, we're just not going to agree. No, no, hold on. No, I can't let this go. Hold
my
on.
bad. Bad.
No, I'm going to give you the image, and we're going to look at it together. We're going to do this live. This isn't a joke image. Well, it's not really a great one, but here.
Is it real
maybe.
image?
It's a real image. Look at it first if you don't trust it, but
I do. I trust you. What is it?
it might not be big enough for us to show.
This looks like a rock band from the 80s.
That's
Oh, that's
fine.
Core, Kalis, and
The guys. Yeah, the guys.
yeah.
Where'd it go? Oh my god, it disappeared. There it is.
Now you could argue Core looks lighter than the other two. Koloth, Kang, and Core. That's,
They do
that's
look.
what
They really do look like a band. I'm sorry.
yeah, a hairband.
Let me see. Here we go. It's just small. It's a small image.
Yeah, that's the problem.
No, it's okay. Here's the thing. There you go. There's the guys.
I present to you white people. Here's another one full of the glorious white race. Click on that one.
All right, here we go. Let's see.
But I get, yeah, because Koloth. Look at,
I will say this: at least they gave them the same mustaches and like eyebrow type stuff. You guys, that's too much.
Too much. Dark Knight,
All right.
Dark Knight always looks pissed on these. I don't even know why it comes. Like, are you just like addicted to like getting angry? Is that why?
I don't know what you're talking about. And what's with the what happened
What
to
happened? What
everybody?
just happened here?
I don't know. We're just looking at your picture for some reason.
Yeah, it said it was offline. Did it go offline on the show?
Yeah, I'm right here. No, I'm right here.
Yeah, but did the show go offline?
No,
It
we're
said
still
offline
on.
on mine.
So I think that what
Kang
we can
had
all-
that good tan.
He was the right skin. Oh my god, this is a horrible show. Y'all are gonna get me canceled. Oh
yeah,
my god, y'all are gonna get me.
we are going to forever be
Writer's
banned.
teacher says Laura's not the first to point this out, and yes, it has been a point of critique over the years. That's good to know.
So that's not white.
Is that a Klingon?
That is a Klingon.
I can
That's
find you.
that's from the episode Blood Oath, season 2, Deep Space Nine.
Can you
His
make it
name in the credits is actually the albino.
Can you
And
make
this
it?
is
Can you
Well,
make it?
yeah,
an
he's an
albino?
albino.
That's not the same thing as white.
He has a
yeah.
skin condition.
Albino is a person with a skin disease, meaning they have no pigmentation.
I'm just saying this was from 30, 40, 30 years ago. I mean, like, anyway, but I don't know. It just didn't bother me as much as it seemed to bother you guys.
It didn't bother me either. I was just bumped into. Well, wait a minute. So this is a thing? Okay, cool.
You know what bothered me more is how did the saucer section have warp drive without nacelles? That bothered me more. You want to talk about Star Trek stuff. At the end
Well,
of the
that's why I said
episode,
the whole thing is just a flying saucer that has a school attached to it.
yeah, but it had the nacelles, and when it goes down into Earth to attach to the school,
But the
it
nacelles are
left
just
the
there
it
to
left
look.
the nacelles in space. But when we see it go to fight the Klingons, it separates from the nacelles, and then the saucer section goes into warp.
Well, you see, that's the
Have
thing.
we
You're
ever
not
seen
paying
that before?
attention- Hold on, you're not paying attention to the design, sir. And I'll bring up the image here because I know a good image for this.
So while you're doing that, oh, I'm
Yes.
sorry. I thought you were pulling up. Continue. To answer the question, yes, because I just did a video on a vessel that did that.
On a vessel that has warp drive.
Yeah. So like literally, I did a
I
video
thought it was the
today.
nacelles that made the warp
It is, but the nacelles don't have to look like they do. So like, and I just did the video on this on the Prometheus. It has 3 different sections, and all 3 sections, if you actually look at all 3 sections, have nacelles. The middle one, I think it's the middle one. Either the middle one or the top one don't have the big nacelles you see in back, but on the sides of them, they actually have the nacelles. So they can be integrated into the subsystem.
We may
or
very
into
well
the
be
structure.
on limbs about some of this stuff, guys, because them folks in the crowd talking about that they don't necessarily they didn't interpret some of the same stuff as us, and by that's fair. I think it's fair. I know I didn't interpret things the same way Laura or Salty did last couple weeks ago, so it's
Interpret what? What are they talking about?
I'm assuming they're talking. I don't know. He just said the way he said it interpreted certain scenes, so I assume they're probably talking about the one scene that.
Tell me what scene you didn't interpret. I'll talk.
Okay, so this is the rear view shot of the Athena. And so just to clarify, those aren't nacelles, those are freaking wings.
Can you make that bigger?
They're super wings.
Okay, so they're not necessarily. Are we making a joke here, or
No,
because
look at the shape. Those are not
those
nacelles.
just
Like,
look like 32nd century nacelles to me. I
they
don't
don't
know.
look like any other starship's nacelles that
I
we
agree,
see.
but
Even
It's
in
been
the 32nd century.
But listen, Salty, it's been 900 years.
I hate you so much, bro. I hate you so much.
But no, in seriousness, I don't.
I need a cigarette. You guys
Here's
are
my
killing me.
thing. When I went back and I rewatched some of the warp, the like 10 seconds of warp, you actually see that ship in warp. They don't act like nacelles anymore. But you would, I would agree with Dork Knight that I thought they were nacelles as well, just because of how we see how we see the older ships, and they were just like fancy nacelles or whatever, where they didn't look like the other ones. I agree with Dork that that's a really easy thing to assume. And until they did the little saucer section and it went out, I didn't actually look. But you're right; they don't act like nacelles. I agree, and they don't seem to have any purpose to them at all.
Well, I think the purpose is simple. That's Starfleet Academy. That's where all the kids are.
In those nacelles,
They're not
no,
nacelles.
that's in the wings, whatever the hell they.
Think of it as, because if you notice
For the
in
record, that
image-
wasn't me. I did not bring this up. That just for the
No,
record.
I brought that up.
Okay.
So didn't hold on. So let's look at this, because didn't a lot of cadets lose their lives in the first episode? Because that's what he latches onto. I think. Let's go back and take a look, because when he sends the thing to connect to the ship,
right.
which just magically goes away once all of the stuff goes, which makes no
well,
sense.
I
at
know,
all.
well, he says he's trying to get the warp nacelles, which
No. But I'm saying if the I'm not saying you're wrong, but if that's where the cadets are, those hook things that he used, that looked kind of similar to what they did in Lower Decks, those latched onto the wings. So that just killed a ton of cadets, I would assume. You know what I'm talking about? Like,
No, I mean, I feel you. Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
but then Starfleet Academy wasn't officially open yet.
it had all
I
the
didn't know
cadets
what
on
that
it. They were
answer
picking
means.
up all the
What does
cadets.
that answer mean?
No,
bro?
there was a line of
So they're-
dialogue where there
so
were
they're
no
technically-
casualties in that first
Why?
episode.
How could there be no?
Okay.
That's horrible.
And as we all know, Star Trek does not have any kind of inconsistencies when it says stuff
See,
like that.
well, I'm just saying that's what
You're right. You're
I
right.
think. It's not up to me, man. I'm just reporting what happened. That's all. I mean,
That's fair. No, that's fair.
No, you're reporting what they
Well,
said.
apparently their EMH sucks.
So listen, one of the things that I actually did like about the episode was that ultimately you end up with this resolution, the solution that came up through this problem. Though again, all very surface, I still like the fact that Jaden, for best or good or worst, is actually starting establishing his own sort of name for himself as having been a big part of this thing that happened. And I'm like, that's cool, because we accepted that kind of behavior and stuff from other people in Star Trek. So good for him. Like, I thought that the fact that he was able, that they used this, I wish the whole thing would have happened a little more like paced better, because again, I feel like we were rushed through everything, and everything sort of, and not even in the way that like Strange New Worlds or episodic TV does it, which feels satisfying. This felt like problem presented. Oh, look, that's going to be deep. Oh, next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing, and you're just pushed through until the very end when everyone's looking happily at Jaden on the bridge, going, "You did good, kid." And I'm like, okay, he did right. He did good, because it just all felt performative in a way. I don't know. It just am I the only one that caught that had that read?
I think the whole episode felt
I sent you something, Noodle.
rushed. I think that if you took out the polyamorous crap, you took out I think most of the debate stuff was unnecessary, and you just made it a story about the Klingon crisis and Jaden trying to deal with it, and then Jaden coming up with the solution that they go with at the end. It would have been a far better episode, and you could have dug into it a little more.
Can I say on that what I hate about this show is it is all about tell but not show.
Yeah.
Like why we don't get to see the big game to see if they win. We see him come up and do his little speech, but I want to see an actual like debate. I thought it would have been cool if he said get me back on that thing and then he actually debates Caleb and actually like wins or at least
Right.
matches
Instead
his
of just
character
giving a
with it,
speech.
instead of just giving a speech. Now, you have really got me stuck on these wings now. Can we look at that real quick if you don't mind?
Yeah, I'm bringing it up right now. Here you go.
So Salty, can you make it big screen real quick?
Hold on.
There's two things interesting because again, you see where it latches on. I'm not saying you're wrong, but if that makes sense. If the cadets are there, then they I guess they just had them in emergency rooms and not in their actual places because those people are dead. But beyond that, what I think is interesting is based on what you said and looking at it, what is that blue thing under there then? Because it can't be a nacelle then, right? So that's not going to be a part of the nacelle. Like
Well,
what
if it
purpose does that?
is, then there's a whole lot of wasted structure here.
Right.
I mean, and which I'm not saying is out of the question, but I'm just trying to figure out what's the point in having warp nacelles if the warp nacelles are unnecessary to go to warp.
Well,
So
that's what my thought
Okay.
was. When I
Yeah.
saw that. Yeah.
the only thing I would say, if I had to give them the ultimate, if I had to do this in a lore video, if that was confirmed as a nacelle, and without us having this conversation and me seeing this image, I might say those are nacelles, but I would say that it would be similar to the Galaxy class, well, not the Galaxy class, the Prometheus,
Right.
where those are the main nacelles, and then the whatever saucer section has backup, like a
But the
backup.
thing is, but the saucer section, there's no secondary hull. I mean, you have the outer ring, but that's it. There's so little of the ship that is, because basically that's 90% of the starship goes off without the nacelles, which makes no stinking sense. If
Yeah.
Because you think about it, like with the Galaxy class, the saucer separates, and yes, the saucer is oversized, but the secondary hull is a distinct and separate part of the ship. In this, the main deflector dish is on that stupid droopy part at the bottom of the saucer.
Well, the other thing too, it at least makes a little more sense how they were able to go to warp now, because I always questioned that in the first one too, because I assumed those were the nacelles, just because that's my mind always told me when you have two long parts of a Federation starship, those are nacelles. That's just what my
Right.
mind internally tells me.
Oh
And
no, it
so
totally makes sense.
I was wondering how they even went back to warp. It now makes a little sense that the saucer section had a warp. I don't know how it took the entire thing with it, if those are warp nacelles, but they went wireless with warp. So am I the only one that look? I'm not saying I like it or anything like that, but it's not really. It doesn't like destroy me that they're not connected. I think it's stupid too, but it's whatever. There's a
It's
lot of
stupid.
stupid things Star Trek does.
Right. I mean, it's stupid
Agreed.
from
I'll
the
agree with that.
sense. Yeah, it's stupid from the sense that it violates the conservation of energy. I mean, because you're using more energy to keep the nacelles separate from everything than to have them physically attached, and so you're just burning energy for no reason.
I have a feeling their first drafts of all their scripts referred to them like this: the cool long parts. And then
Yeah,
someone would come back and tell them those are nacelles. Change it to nacelles. Don't you want to put the cool long parts? I think it's exactly how they refer to them in their writers.
you're probably right, which is sad and pathetic, but probably true.
I don't mind making like if you want to make the model first and then add the things to it later. I don't have an issue with that as long as you're okay with modifying it to make sense in the end. But like if they wanted to make the ship look like that, I don't have an issue with it. Just make it make sense. You know what I'm saying? Don't just
Right.
have it there to have it there. Like I'm not sure, I can't say this, but I would assume that the first thing they did when they're putting vessels together is they knew they had to have specific parts, but they really wanted it to look good on camera. That's what they cared about more than anything else, right?
Agreed.
So I would assume that all of them started like that. So if they wanted this vessel, if this is what they wanted, if this, I don't know why, but if this is what they wanted, then just make it all make sense. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah, but it does make sense because it's got pretty birdie parts.
I wonder if they liked. And I'm sincere about this. I wonder if they like, the comm badges, because the comm badges are the ship. I'm wonder if they made the comm badges first, and then they're like, we're just stuck with it now because the comm badges.
Yeah, because the comm badges look like the ship. Yeah.
And they like the way it looked on camera. So I'm wondering if that's how it actually happened. The comm badges got made first, and then they had to make it into the ship.
I feel like,
but Danny, you've been really quiet about this, Danny. What are your thoughts on the nacelles?
It's Friday night, time to get your nerd on. We got Mr. Know-It-All, the salty trekker and Danny Dork Night. Are y'all ready? Aight.